Alright, so I've waited a couple of days to make this video. It's Wednesday now, 3-4 days after Stevenage Marathon. I had a few mixed emotions at the end of Stevenage Marathon, so I thought I'd wait a few days just to reflect, let things settle down, etc. But before we go into some things that went well, some things that went less well, let's have some footage of Stevenage Marathon, the run itself.
Maybe for Trump recently, but still, both candidates are coming in polls about 48, 47, 47, 49. So it's incredibly close when you're talking about margins that are that small.
Alright, so here we are, Stevenage Marathon. It's a bit grey and drizzly out. It's forecast to be 40-mile-an-hour winds. But we're here an hour early, so let's go and make our way over, get rid of the bag, and get ready to go for what's looking like a wet and windy marathon today. So what we'll do, we'll talk about some of the things that went less well, and then we'll talk about some of the positives from the day as well. We'll end on a high rather than just focusing on negatives and ending the video that way. So some of the negatives, well, firstly, the big negative for the day, I guess, I woke up not feeling quite right. I don't know how to describe it. I wouldn't say I felt ill, but without being too graphic, because I appreciate some people might be watching this at lunchtime or dinner time, I went to the toilet more often than I ever have before a race. And then sadly continued to go to the toilet during the race. So Stevenage Marathon, I think I've never been so grateful for a marathon, a race, a run, having so many portaloos. So the water stations were every 5k, and each water station basically had a couple of portaloos as well. So never been so grateful for that happening. I think I visited most of them, unfortunately, so I can remember going to the toilet at mile 3, mile 6, mile 9 basically, and then a couple of times on the second lap as well. So don't know what was up with me. I didn't do anything particularly different. I think just must have been having an off day. So that coupled with I think my stomach was cramping. I can remember having to walk mile 8, or quite a lot of mile 8, a significant amount of mile 8. So I think stomach cramping and having to stop at almost every water station. I think I lost some significant time, unfortunately, through, nothing through fitness or anything like that. So that's just a bit annoying, but hey, one of those things, nothing we could really do about it. The annoying thing is I can't put my finger on why that would have happened, so it's not like I can change anything for the next time round. So no lessons learned, unfortunately, just have to hope it doesn't happen again, and just one of those unfortunate things, I think. The second thing that I could pick out that didn't go quite as well as it could have, and again through no fault of my own, the weather on the day. I don't know, the storm Ashley or something, I think, that came across from the Atlantic and across Ireland, etc. It's so bad that the Great South Run got cancelled, so they took the initiative to cancel their race. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I think I built it up in my mind to be something that was going to be really, really bad. I'm not saying it was great conditions, so it was quite windy out, quite often felt like you were running into headwind, side wind. There were elements obviously where you got a tailwind and it pushed you along, etc. And the rain was nowhere near as heavy as I thought it was going to be, but there was constant drizzle going on, so it's just not, ideal marathon running conditions, I would say. But again, nothing we could do. Some people ran some great times as well, so can't say that affected me too badly, but it is a factor. It is what it is, unfortunately. Stevenage Marathon comes around every 10 years. Unfortunately, on this occasion, the weather gods weren't with them. So they were the two downsides of the day, really, from my point of view. However, there was loads and loads of upsides, loads of them. First of all, it was great, local race, met loads of people that I knew, etc., on the start line and through the course, etc. Really friendly, as you expect from most running events, really. Loads of great running camaraderie out there. And then I think what was so pleasing on the day was when I was running, which was virtually the entire course. I think I ran all the way to mile 24. I felt really, really strong. I do find that with Hanson's marathon methods, there is an element of doubt with you because you haven't run the long miles, the 20 mile, 22 miles, etc., that some traditional plans get you to do. You've only gone up to 15, 16, and in my case, I'd only done sort of 3 out of the 5 long runs that Hanson sort of prescribed, so I was super nervous about that. Needn't have been. Ran super strong all the way round. I can remember sort of the second half of the race, I made a bit of a mental note to try and work out if people were overtaking me or if I was overtaking them. Can't really recall anyone going past me. Maybe 1 or 2 people did, but for the most part I was going past people. And also can remember sort of people glancing at me because I think I was feeling strong and I probably was looking quite strong as well. I had a conversation with a couple of people in the second half and they were commenting on how strong I was looking and how they were trying to keep pace with me to keep things going, etc. So really, really delighted with that. That's the big takeaway from this training block and what I wanted to achieve type thing. So I ran, as I said, to mile 24. Unfortunately, I did walk at mile 24. It was a bit of an uphill finish. The last 2 miles were generally quite up. By that point, because of the issues earlier on with my stomach, etc., I think sort of time goals, I didn't really have a time goal, but arbitrary sort of goals that I'd sort of set myself on the way round, they'd sort of diminished slightly, and therefore faced with a big hill, a bit of tiredness, a bit of dehydration, took the easy option to walk, and obviously regretting that now a few days on, but it is what it is. So delighted to be able to run so strongly for 24 miles. That's a huge win from my point of view. So super friendly course, really strong running from my point of view from where I am at the moment. So I've set out to achieve what I wanted to achieve in the last training block, so massive tick there. I suppose the other thing to comment on is Stevenage. 1, you had the weather, and 2, the course is quite challenging. What I'm going to say here, for people in the north of England or in hilly areas of the country, there's no hills per se in Stevenage to run up. There's 1 or 2 steep underpasses, etc. But Stevenage Marathon's always got something going on, is the way that I describe it. It's either going down or up. It's never really flat, if that makes sense. And Stevenage is well known for its underpasses. So you're quite often going down through an underpass and then back up, etc. So that cumulative sort of running through underpasses and up gentle gradients and down gentle gradients and a few steep gradients, etc., does take a toll. I was talking to a few people on the second lap and who weren't from the area, and I don't think they were expecting quite the number of underpasses and the slopes and the hills, etc. So me being local, I've run practically every cycle path that we went down the other day at some point in my life. I knew exactly where the hills were, where they were coming, which ones were the steeper ones, etc. So a challenging day with the headwinds, a challenging day with the rain, and then not a super flat course by any stretch of the imagination. So to be that strong for 24 miles off 12 weeks training, absolutely delighted with that. So I did comment the day before that I wasn't having a time goal. I was just happy to get round. I was happy to make the start line, just as happy to make the finish line, and all that I really wanted to do was be able to run quite strongly throughout, and I managed to accomplish that, so happy days. I do remember, I think I got to halfway in about 2:15 or 2:19, something like that, and therefore I kind of worked on well. I had quite a few stops in the first half. Hopefully my stomach issues were behind me at that point. Turned out they weren't, but I was hoping that they were, and therefore maybe I'd added sort of 5 minutes on type thing, and therefore a 4:30, 4:35 I felt was on the cards if I had a strong second half. I did have the strong second half, but I ended up finishing in 4:41.55, I think it was. So slightly disappointed. As I say, I got to mile 24 and I realised that sort of 4:30, 4:35, even 4:40 was sort of drifting away from me at that point, and therefore took the slightly easy option to walk miles 24 and 25, etc. I didn't walk all of them, but I walked significant parts of them, mainly because they were uphill. But you know, really happy with that. I didn't have a time goal, but obviously to see it drift away from you through things that were probably out of my control a little, and things that I felt fit enough to achieve on the day. So I think I'm probably in 4:30, 4:35 course shape, maybe a little bit faster on a nicer course. So fair play to Stride. You know, it was predicting a 4:20, I think, plus or minus 5 minutes. So 4:25 versus 441 with some other factors taken into consideration. It was pretty good. So I'm happy with that. Massively happy with Stevenage Marathon this weekend. Just disappointed a few things out of my control didn't go my way, but hey, if you'd offered me this 12 weeks ago, I would have snapped your hand off. So let's take that. We've put down a good base now. It's time to kick on. We're going to do Snowdonia Marathon this weekend, so I'll record a video a bit later on this week. Same as Stevenage of the day before, my thoughts before the race, and we'll go into more detail on that next, and then maybe a week off to recover. And then what we'll do is we'll look to keep this sort of base going and build from it, because this is the ideal base to be building on for the start of next year. So really happy days. Thank you everyone at Stevenage Marathon for everyone who came out to support and volunteer, especially in those conditions. I think you probably had the tougher time than the people that were running it, etc. So thank you for coming out. Thank you for everyone who organised Stevenage Marathon, and thanks for all the supporters and volunteers, etc. On to the next one. Thanks for following along. We'll have to start a new sort of playlist and a vlog series, I think, on the next challenge.